In some circles, there are people who disregard the value of the created earth. They look upon it as just a little dot in the whole universe. It is a very small planet compared to other planets and compared to the sun. And they'll even look upon human dignity with less respect because it seems to be so insignificant compared to the whole cosmos. We just read from the book of Genesis, God's creation. He chose this planet. He chose this place for his son to become incarnate, to become a man. In a sense, Christ is a part of every man and woman that's ever lived because he came and brought dignity to human life. It had been destroyed by sin, and he came to raise it to dignity once again. All of God's creation is so beautiful, and he's created it all with a purpose. It's interesting right now in the winter. Everything looks so dead outside, doesn't it? The trees and the plants and so forth. But I've been watching the birds, the creation of the birds in Genesis. I don't know why they're not freezing. They're flying around in this cold weather without a coat, and they just seem to be so cold. But they're pecking at the ground, and they're pecking at the trees, and they're finding little bugs and things that God put there for them to eat. And they're very creative. There's a gray squirrel in the rectory yard. He's been here for a few years. There's no mate, there's no other squirrel. It's just this gray squirrel, and he's very interesting to watch. Yesterday, I saw him climb right up the fence. From the fence, he jumped off and landed on the bird feeder. Then he wrapped his body all around that bird feeder, and for the longest time, he was eating all the bird seeds with his tongue from the bottom of that feeder until he ate the whole thing. And I thought, you little rascal, And I thought God must have been smiling at the creativeness of that little squirrel, trying to get something to eat on a cold day. But you see, if we look at that, if we look at creation and as we see it every day, and we see it as God's creation, it's so wonderful, isn't it? To know that God created it and he became one of us. So much does he love human beings. He created us in his image and likeness. He gave us a soul which has the power to think and to love, the two powers that God has. Of all the creatures he created, only we human beings can think and love. And he made us like himself. And so we have an obligation to live up to the dignity that God has given us and to be grateful that we're a part of this wonderful creation. It might only be a small place in view of the entire universe, but it's very important to the heart of God. And we think of our own creation. I'm offering this Mass today for my mother. She was born in 1926, and I think of her often and realize, as we all do with our mother, that she brought us into this world, again, a part of God's creation through her accepting the vocation of being married and being a mother. And what a wonderful gift. I give thanks to God for her today and every day. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.